6 disappearances, 2-mile radius, 20 years, and every single search dog assigned to every single one of those cases, 6 different teams, 6 different years, lost the scent at the exact same GPS coordinate, the same point, every time. A retired federal analyst built a 30-page data set around that coordinate, cross-referenced, mapped, documented with full methodology. Then she brought it to a federal field office. They told her to delete it, not submit it, not flag it for review. Delete it. She said something before the end of tonight that I need you to hold until you hear it, because by the time you do, the word delete is going to mean something different than it does right now. This is Obscure Nights, where the cases nobody talks about get told the way they actually happened. 62 cases in 11 years, and I have never written anything down that I was not prepared to defend in front of a review board. That is who I am before any of this. Vera, SAR volunteer coordinator at Glacier National Park since 2007. I document everything. I flag everything. I follow protocol because protocol exists for a reason, and in search and rescue that reason is that lives depend on precision. So, when I tell you that what happened on October 14th, 2018 in the Swift Current Search Area does not have a protocol-consistent explanation, I need you to understand the weight of that statement coming from me specifically. A 7-year-old boy named Finn went missing from a family campsite near the Swift Current trailhead on a Thursday afternoon. His parents lost sight of him for 6 minutes. That number, 6 minutes, is the one that follows you in cases involving children. 6 minutes is nothing. 6 minutes is a bathroom break. 6 minutes should not be enough time for a child to disappear into terrain that 42 trained searchers with helicopter support cannot locate them in for 4 days. But it was. We initiated full search protocols within the hour. By nightfall, we had 2 helicopter sweeps, 4 trained tracking dogs working expanding perimeters, and 42 ground volunteers covering every registered trail in a 3-mile radius. The dogs tracked Finn's scent east toward the tree line, 3/4 of a mile. Strong signal the whole way. Then all 4 stopped. Not gradually, not because of terrain or a water crossing. All 4 dogs at the same point simultaneously. The lead handler had 22 years of tracking experience. He told me he had never seen 4 dogs stop at the same coordinate without transition in his entire career. I flagged the notation for the incident report. I documented it with GPS coordinates, timestamps, and handler testimony. That notation did not make it into the final case file. We searched the primary perimeter for 4 days. The specific clearing where Finn was eventually found was swept 3 times before he was found in it. 3 separate teams walked through that clearing. Nobody found him. A volunteer named Craig found Finn on day 4 sitting on a flat rock at the center of that clearing, physically unharmed, his clothing completely dry despite 2 days of rain that had soaked every piece of terrain in the search area. His shoes were gone. Not lost somewhere on the trail. Gone. His socks were still on his feet. I reached him before the rest of the team. I asked him where he had been. He looked at me and said, "They told me to wait here." I kept my voice steady. I asked who told him. He said, "The ones in the trees. They said you would come." I asked what they looked like. He looked past me toward the tree line. He said, "They don't look like anything." The rest of the team arrived 2 minutes later. Finn ate a granola bar. He asked for his mother. He was medically cleared within 30 minutes. The official case closure listed his recovery location as northeast quadrant of primary search perimeter. The attending physician noted childhood confusion, consistent with disorientation and trauma. What the file does not say is what Finn told me on that rock. What it does not say is that 4 dogs stopped at the same coordinate simultaneously and that notation was removed from the incident report before filing. What it does not answer, and what I have spent 6 years unable to answer, is the question that has never left me since that afternoon. We searched that clearing 3 times. Finn was in it. Where was he the first 3 times we looked? 4 dogs stopping simultaneously. A child dry after 2 days of rain. A clearing searched 3 times before he appeared in it. And the detail about the dogs, removed from the official file before anyone else could read it. If Obscure Nights is where you come for the cases that never make the news, subscribe right now. We just hit 1,000 subscribers and every single one of you made that happen. Thank you. Genuinely. Now stay for the second case, because an engineer found something on a trail that should not have been there, and then the report he filed about it disappeared. The boots were placed. That is the detail I keep coming back to, and I need you to understand the specific meaning of that word in this context. Not dropped, not kicked off, not fallen from a pack, placed. Both boots upright parallel, laces tied, centered on the flattest section of bare rock on that section of trail, facing the direction I was walking. The kind of arrangement that requires a moment of deliberate thought. I am Deon. I am a structural engineer, and I have been hiking the Smokies backcountry since 2011. I hike because I like the measurable physics of it. Elevation gain, distance, pace. I document my hikes in a spreadsheet. I'm telling you this because I need you to understand the kind of person who found those boots on the Hazel Creek Trail on a Tuesday morning in March 2021. And what that kind of person does next. I photographed them from 6 angles before I touched anything. Then I checked the brand and the size. Vasque Breeze, men's size 10. The right boot had a strip of duct tape wrapped around the toe box in a specific way. The tape was weathered, old, applied sometime before that morning. The edges beginning to peel at the corners the way old tape does after months of trail use. I finished the hike. I drove home. I told myself there was a rational explanation, and I would find it if I looked. That night, I started searching missing persons cases in the Smoky Mountains trail system. Male, adult, that specific area. I found a case from 2018. A man named Walter, 44 years old, experienced day hiker, entered the Hazel Creek Trail system on a Saturday morning and did not return. The search lasted 9 days. He was never found. The search log included a description of his gear at the trailhead. Vasque Breeze hiking boots, size 10. A notation from the trailhead ranger who had spoken with him that morning. Walter had mentioned repairing a separation in the toe of the right boot with duct tape before he left home that day. I filed a report with the Park Service the following morning. Full documentation. My photographs with timestamp metadata. The case number I had found in the public search logs. My contact information. The officer I spoke with told me the boots I had described were not logged as evidence in any open case in their system. I went back to the trail 4 days later. The boots were gone. Not moved, not collected visibly. No evidence tape, no markers, nothing to suggest an official retrieval. Gone the way something disappears when the people removing it do not want the removal documented. I called the Park Service again. The officer I reached told me there was no incident report in the system matching my name or my filing date. I have the photographs. Timestamp data embedded in the metadata. The case reference number cited in my original report. I have all of it on my phone and backed up to 2 cloud services. What I do not have is any record in any official system that I ever reported finding them. What I cannot explain, and I want to be clear that this statement costs me something as a person who has built his entire professional life on the principle that everything has an explanation, is how a pair of boots belonging to a man who disappeared on that trail in 2018 appeared on that trail in 2021 in a position that required someone to place them there. Walter has never been found. The boots are gone. And somewhere in the Great Smoky Mountains Park Service filing system, there is no record of either of those facts. A child in a searched clearing with no explanation for where he was the first 3 times. A missing man's boots placed on the trail he vanished from 3 years later. Both reports buried before anyone else could read them. The third account is the one that connects everything. A retired federal analyst who spent 19 years doing exactly this, finding what the data is hiding. And what she found at one coordinate in Washington state is the reason someone came to her house. Stay with me. And if you are not subscribed to Obscure Nights right now, this is the moment. I want to be precise about what I am telling you and what I am not. I am not telling you there is something supernatural at a coordinate in the Okanogan-Wenatchee National Forest in Washington state. I spent 19 years as a federal data analyst doing pattern recognition, and I was trained out of supernatural conclusions the first week of my career. What I am telling you is that the data exists, that I built it correctly, that I know what analytically unsound means, and I know that what I produced was not it. And that someone from a federal office sat at my kitchen table and reviewed 30 pages of methodology and told me to delete it. Not because it was wrong, but because it was harmful. Those are not the same thing. That distinction is why I am here. After I retired, I started a personal project. Unofficial. I mapped 6 disappearances in a 2-mile radius of a creek in the Okanogan-Wenatchee National Forest over a 20-year period. Different ages, different demographics, different seasons. 2 officially resolved, 4 open. When I overlaid the actual field reports, not the case summaries, the field reports with the raw documentation, I found the pattern I had been trained to find. Every search that involved tracking dogs. Every single one across all 6 cases. 6 different search operations. 6 different teams. 6 different years. The dogs lost the scent at the same GPS coordinate. A hillside. 80 meters above the creek. No water source at that elevation. No terrain feature that logically interrupts a scent trail. No documented wind pattern in any of the 6 incident reports that explain 6 independent failures at the same point. I also found that 2 of the 6 victims who were eventually recovered had been found in areas searched multiple times before discovery. The same pattern Vera described in Montana. The same impossibility Reed encountered in Tennessee, just documented across 6 cases instead of 1. And one of the recovered victims was found face down in the creek, upstream from the established search perimeter. The current in that section flows downstream. I built 30 pages around those findings. Full methodology, visualizations, statistical analysis, the kind of documentation that 19 years of federal work teaches you to produce when you want something taken seriously. Then I contacted a federal field office and offered to share it. Someone arrived at my house within a week. One person, professional. They reviewed my materials at my kitchen table for 2 hours without speaking, except to ask clarifying questions about my methodology. Then they stood up and told me my findings were analytically unsound and potentially harmful to ongoing case integrity. I asked which cases were still actively ongoing across a 20-year period. They did not answer. They told me to delete the dataset, not transfer it, not submit it through official channels. Delete it. I asked what would happen if I did not. They told me that distributing unsupported analytical claims about federal missing persons cases could constitute interference with an active investigation. Then they left. I kept the dataset. I'm not telling you where it is, but I need you to understand the specific thing they said. They did not say my analysis was incorrect. They did not point to a methodological flaw. They did not provide an alternative explanation for 6 sets of dogs stopping at the same coordinate over 20 years. They said my data was harmful. I spent 19 years in federal service. I know exactly what harmful means when it is used in that sentence. It does not mean wrong. It means someone already knows what is at that coordinate and does not want anyone else to find out through the data. They did not say my data was wrong. They said it was harmful. Those are not the same thing. 6 dogs, 6 years, 1 coordinate, and a federal analyst told to delete data that was not wrong, only harmful. Obscure Nights just crossed 1,000 subscribers this week. Every single one of you who subscribed, commented, and shared these cases. You are the reason this channel exists, and the reason these accounts keep getting told. Thank you, from the bottom of this. If you are not subscribed yet, right now, because next week we go somewhere the data points that nobody has followed yet. 3 cases, 3 official files, 3 pieces of evidence that never made it past the people who controlled what got recorded. Vera's notation about 4 dogs stopping simultaneously, removed from the incident report. Deon's filed report with time-stamped photographs of a missing man's boots, gone from the system within 4 days. Simone's 30-page dataset built from 6 cases over 20 years. A federal visitor at her kitchen table within a week. Missing 411 researcher David Paulides has documented over 1,400 cases with patterns similar to what all 3 of these accounts describe. Dogs losing scent in impossible locations, victims found in previously searched areas, evidence that surfaces and disappears without explanation. In nearly every case, the burial of the anomaly is faster than the investigation of it. That is the detail that matters most, not what was found, how quickly it was made to not exist. That coordinate in the Okanogan-Wenatchee forest still sits on that hillside. No marker, no designation on any public map, no official explanation for why 6 sets of dogs stopped there across 20 years. Whatever made them stop is still there, and somewhere in a federal filing system there is no record that anyone ever noticed. Subscribe, because next week, the data points somewhere, and we are going to follow it. Good night.